Welcome to Spiritual Foundations for Life. This is day number 162. No one likes the idea of things being temporary. We live every day with the assumption that tomorrow is going to be the same. We make plans for the future with the thought that we'll have our health and the same job and the same family and the same friends. Well, the Apostle James says otherwise in James chapter 4, verses 13 to 15. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or to that city, we'll spend a year there, we'll carry on business, we'll make money. Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. Only God is permanent. Everything else is changing. We are time-oriented people by nature, who are in the process of learning to see life from God's eternal perspective. On 3 separate occasions, Jesus told his disciples that he was going to Jerusalem, where he would be betrayed and crucified. The first time the disciples essentially denied Jesus, and Peter even rebuked him in Mark chapter 8, verses 31 and 32. The second time they didn't understand and they were afraid to talk about it, according to Mark chapter 9, verse 32. And the third occasion, the disciples were terrified. Their life as they knew it was soon to be over, according to Mark chapter 10, verse 32. You know, we all go through a similar reaction when a crisis abruptly ends an established lifestyle habit. Usually, the crisis is defined by a significant loss that can either be real or threatened or imaginary. Our first response to that crisis is denial, which can last for 3 days or 30 years. Or 3 seconds. Our initial reaction is a sense of disbelief. No, not me. Then we get angry and we wonder, how can this happen to me? Then the anger often turns to a bargaining with God as we think, well, maybe I can alter what happened. And then finally, we feel depressed when we are unable to reverse the consequences of that loss. See, reaction to losses is the primary cause of depression. No crisis can destroy us, but it will reveal who we are. Learning to overcome losses is a critical part of our spiritual growth. Everything we now have in this temporal world, we shall have or we shall someday lose. The critical question is whether are we going to choose the path of resignation and allow the loss to negatively affect us for the rest of our lives, or whether we're going to accept what we cannot change and grow through the crisis. A wise person once said, a bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. Our key point today is that no crisis can destroy us, but it will reveal who we are. And our key verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. God bless you. See you tomorrow for another episode of Spiritual Foundations for Life.